Welcome, welcome everybody to my Luk'A'Here Y'all podcast with your host, Miss Trina. And today we're going to start our three-part series on mental health. This audience today is for caregivers, family members, younger adults, and really anybody that's struggling in silence. You know, because mental health is a very, very serious issue. Nobody, nobody want to fess up to it, and I understand that because of the stigma that's attached to it. Well, in this series, we gonna release those stigmas. We gonna debunk, okay, those stigmas. And tell you how say it how they say it. We gonna debunk those stigmas, and we're gonna actually get open and honest and talk about mental health because you guys have just tuned in to a person that's very compassionate and very honest when it comes to anything and all things healthcare, whether that be your mind or your body. This is the podcast you need to be listening to today, honey. At least for part one, because we all struggling with this very particular issue that we are going over today, that we're going to discuss today. We ain't going to go over, we're going to discuss it because it is a conversation that actually needs to be had. Now, you're going to probably see me looking down every now and then. That's because I done did a lot of research on this and I done did a lot of writing, and my fingers ain't going to be hurting and cramping for nothing. Trying to sit up here and make it seem like I'm just going at this. Nah, baby. I did my research. I wrote this down. Old school with the pencil. But anyway, with that being said, let's just get into it. Let me tell you why we are here. Okay? We're here because we're talking about something that too often stays locked behind closed doors. I'm talking about locked up. Don't nobody want to tell the next person what's going on in their mind. Don't nobody want to hear about what's going on in the next person in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Because they already got stuff going on in theirs. So I mean, it's a never ending cycle, and I'm gonna explain why. Now I have a personal story, about mental health, something that I didn't even know about when it came to nursing. Because when I first got into nursing, like I said, it was nothing but the elderly in nursing homes, dementia. So you already know about that. You already got that locked and loaded in your mind. Okay. But what happens when you, the caregiver, are 37 years old and you taking care of a person that's 10 years younger than you? Yeah, 10 years younger than me. And I wasn't too much like into the girl because she was so young and she was still, independent. She was still, taking care of herself a little. She was still in her right mind. Let me tell it, because of the way she's functioning. Okay? So a couple of weeks go by with the girl with her, and all of a sudden she got silent. She just got silent. So I came in one day and I asked her, I said, "Are you all right today?" She just looked at me like she never seen me before. "I'm okay." And I let it go on. Now this happened 3 days in a row. Me asking her, "Are you okay?" And her responding to me, "I'm okay," and letting it go. 3 days in a row. The fourth day I came in, she was sitting on the couch. She was already up out the bed, but she wasn't dressed. And usually she dressed. And I asked her, "Girl, what's going on with you?" She said nothing. I said, "No, you can't keep telling me that because you've been doing this for about 3, 4 days. This ain't even cool. What you got going on?" And she looked at me and she looked me dead in my eyes and said, "You ain't been wanting to know." I said, "Oh." Now that stung. That stung because I took her words for true when she said, "I'm okay." I took her words for true when she said, "Nothing's wrong." Instead of me being the caregiver that I am, knows as I am, I did not believe in digging in it. You know what I mean? See, you can dig in it when the person is elderly and the person have dementia. You have to dig in it. But when a person is 10 years younger than you and in your mind she's with it and everything is cool, then you wouldn't dig in it. So I had to dig in it because I'm nosy. And when I asked the question, that's when she told me she had lupus. She just found out that she had lupus. Not only was it her, but it was her sister that was 2 years younger than her that was pregnant. You see? I wouldn't have known nothing like that if I wouldn't have. So now I saw how she was responding to life every day and dealing with what was going on in her mind. Because on the outside, she look cool. She can still dress herself, girl. She be fly. She go cook this. She go cook that. She, you know, talk to me and we be on the front porch and we go take walks and stuff like that. And I just never knew. I never knew what the internal was because really, I did not ask. So, with that being said, when we break these silences, when we actually open up and let the next person know what's going on, trust me, it is. You hear so many people say or ask a person, well, why you ain't saying nothing? Girl, I don't want nobody in my business, baby. If it's your mental, you better put somebody in your business. Because the mind, we only get one. People, listen to me. We only get one brain. That's it. One. And you have to take care of it. Just like you only get one body and the parts that come with it, you have to take care of it. If not, it's all going to be replaced. The only thing that they can't replace is your brain. They can take pieces out. They can put plates in. But they can't take that whole thing and wipe it off and put it back in and start all over. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So we must, people, especially in the black community, we must simply take care of our mental well-being. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is, well, actually it is. I mean, the first and foremost, it is the silence. It is the silence. But today, we done with that. We done with being silent. Okay? Today, we going to speak up and we going to listen up. Yeah, that's the goal for today. Speak up and listen up. Speak up and listen up. I like that. Because when people speak, they ain't really listening. For real. When people speak, others are not really listening. I mean, not unless it's something that affects them. And I suppose everybody should be listening today because mental health affects everyone. And it affects every aspect of our everyday lives. It does. Now, we're going to unpack the silence for about 10 minutes of this broadcast. We just going to unpack this silence. Okay? The definition of stigma, talk about the culture. You know what I mean? Black people culture, because I can't speak to white folks. But black people, the way I know, that's either in my family or somebody that I know that's close to me. The gender-based stigmas, you know what I mean? Because if you're a woman, you should be strong. You done had kids. You done had, you the head of your household. You should be this. You should be that. You should go through this. You should be able to come through that. Or if it's a man, you a whole man. What you mean you feeling like that? What you mean you feeling like that? You got some kind of weakness in you or something? That's the first thing a person would ask. Or that's the first thing that the next person that's receiving that information from you would think, that you weak. We have all heard it before. We even do it to ourselves sometimes, and I'm going to get to that, for real. Now, when we see things on social media, okay, social media and reality is two different things. You can be anything, anybody, any who you want to on social media. You can smile, you can kiki, you can cuckoo, you can be out there styling and profiling, you can be dressed to the T, you can be feeling like this or feeling like that on the outside. When your inside is 110% toe up. But you don't want to let nobody know that because you've been masking it all this time. You have really been masking. Now we see the smiles online, but what aren't we seeing? I mean, like, what else we ain't seeing? Yeah, yeah, we can call out the masks that we all wear. Yes, we can call out the masks that we all wear, and we do, and we really do. So I don't know why people want to, make it seem like there is absolutely nothing wrong with, you know, going through something by themselves or so-called getting themselves out of it. You know what I mean? Getting themselves out of it. Like, I did this myself. 9 times out of 10, when it really comes down to it, you are actually festering. Let me say it like that. Festering. And the reason I say that is because when we keep silent and we keep things to ourselves, and even traumatic things, if we keep things to ourselves and we keep it balled up and bottled up and bottled up and bottled up, it's only going to take one word. It's only going to take one action. It's only going to take one misunderstanding for you to spaz out, crash out. I'm telling you. And the first thing people say, no, I can't believe her. She ain't never did that before. Girl, I can't believe him. Girl, he done tripped out. I can't believe he ain't never did nothing like that before. See, we can say that person ain't never did nothing like that before because because we ain't never seen that person, act out like that or do what they did or crash out or spaz out. We ain't never seen that before. And we wondering like, what happened to him or what happened to her? You can ask that question after. You can ask that question later. But how come can't nobody ask that question right now? How come can't nobody go to that person and be like, say, man, been peeping you for the last past week or two. You ain't been yourself, man. What's happening? That's all it takes. That's how it starts. That is all it takes. It's just one compassionate question to another person that's in need. We probably wouldn't know. Well, we know that they in need. They know that they in need. But they ain't gonna say something to somebody else. Say something. Some feel like that, but then you got some that just be like, oh, I'm all right. I can get through it by myself. And I have heard that before. Now, when it comes to the professional perspective, we don't know. Basically, we actually do not know like what this person is going through or what this person is, have seen in their life, like what kind of trauma this person has been through. We don't know none of that. All we know is the representative of the person that we know. Okay? We only see the person that person wants us to see. Period. Because each and every human being, when they go home and close the door behind them, or they shut off their cameras on social media, or they or like I said, they cut off their cameras on social media, then you'll see who the real person is. But we won't see that real person. The person that lives with them will see that real person. The children will see that real person. The family members will see that real person. And who's to say that person that we just saw on social media is the same one that's at home? Who's to say that? We don't know that. We just go by what we see online because this person's smiling and happy and kikiing and cuckooing. Then here it is a week later, you didn't find out that they done spazzed out, done killed their boyfriend or killed their girlfriend or killed their children or whatever. And the whole time y'all thinking it's just, you know, that person's just crazy, that person's just tripping. Nah, that person was going through something. That person was really mentally going through something. And nobody was there to help. You don't know how many people actually add fuel to the fire when it comes to um, stuff like that. People add fuel to the fire. They do. Now, we gonna knock down a few lies right now because you ain't weak for asking for help. You're not weak at all for asking for help. You better ask for some help. Because if you feel something and you know something is going wrong with you, or you know your frame of thinking is beginning to get just a little bit twisted and trippy, yeah, you can. You need to go say something. You're not weak. You ain't weak at all. If anything, you're strong for asking for the help. Now, how to start the conversation. Now, this segment is, like I said at first, the right questions to ask. Just start the conversation. I ain't saying just walk up to people and say what's your mental health like? Nobody asking you to do that. I mean, it's ways to do it. Now, you don't have to say everything right. You ain't got to say everything right. Just start with, say, man, I noticed, you know what I'm saying? You done woo 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 woo. You know what I mean? That's how you started. Because 9 times out of 10, if that person is really, really in need and they feel something wrong with them, especially if they know that somebody else see a difference in them, yeah, they going to say something. Yeah, man, I've been tripping, man. Let me tell you what happened. That's how it starts. Okay? And number 2 is the role of the community. And when I say community, I don't mean the people outside your house, down the street, around the corner, up there by the park, down there by the water park, the people at the store that you know. Ain't nobody talking about them. The community is your family. It can be your spouse. It can be your niece, your nephew, your children. Anybody in your family is considered your community. You know, because, okay, say if you are part of a online group, you know, that deals with that. Then cool. Say if you are part of a group of co-workers at work that like to go and have drinks after work and unwind and talk about the day. Because nobody wants to go home with their job. Okay? And nobody wants to go to their job with their home. You know what I mean? You have to separate the two. You have to. And the third is self-care without guilt, especially for caregivers. Now, this is for caregivers. Give yourself some permission to rest. Unplug, cry, recharge. Do what you have to do, you know, as a caregiver to give yourself a mental break. Because 9 times out of 10, we dealing with dementia patients. You know, we dealing with mental health patients our own self. You know what I mean? I done found myself clocking out from work and sitting out in my car and screaming. I ain't playing. Sure have. Sure have. You know, I didn't caught myself crying a couple of days after work. Not that it was hard, but I was crying because I was seeing how people, you know, my senior citizens, my seniors are actually just trapped in their own minds. Been living this whole long time with no problem. Then you wake up one day and you done forgot something that you've been knowing all your life. Ain't that something? That's scary within itself. So, you know, with that being said, it's a lot that we have to unpack when it comes to mental health, especially the diagnosis, you know, because I myself was diagnosed with depression when I had my back surgery and they disabled me from nursing. They told me I couldn't clock in no more. They tell me I couldn't clock in no more. Oh, yeah. Girl, I was out of there. Baby didn't want to get up. I'm serious. I didn't want to do nothing because I feel like if I'm not clocking in for work, I ain't no good to nobody. I feel like if I'm not helping nobody, I ain't no good to nobody. But shoot, it took my sister uh, well, not my sister. Let me take that back. It took my husband to just ask me one day, "Babe, what's wrong with you?" And I really didn't notice what was wrong with me then, but I gave him that same line that everybody else do. Oh, nothing. I'm alright. And he knowing that there is something wrong with me. He's knowing, he can feel it, there's something wrong with me because you my actions and my feelings, my feelings, I'm sorry, show on my face. Okay? I can't hide nothing about the way I'm feeling because it actually shows on my face. And when me and him talked or whatever, and it was a good talk that we had though, and it was then I said, yeah, I need to go talk to somebody. So yeah, I got me a mental health counselor, somebody with an unbiased opinion. Because if I would have went to a family member with whatever it was, then my family members are famous for telling you what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having an ear and listen to what you're talking about, everybody want to fix the problem. You can't fix this, baby. You can't fix this. Can I get you to just listen? Can I? For real? Can I get you to just listen? And and like I said, when it comes to the diagnosis, you don't know really how people are gonna respond to the diagnosis. You got so many people that think that they are in their mind. They think that they are right. They don't need no help. I was one of them people. I lied. I needed that kind of help. And I picked up the phone and I got that kind of help. And I've been better for it since. Now, my closing words on this subject is people, your voice matters. It really does. If it didn't, you wouldn't be here. Your voice matters. You are not alone. You ain't even broken. And you are definitely not too far gone. So whatever is going on with you, whatever you feeling like, you need to go and get help with that. You need to go and get help for that. Because like I said, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. It is. Now, there are some kind of other outside keys and aspects to why a mind would go so left so young, but that's a whole nother podcast. That's a podcast on trauma. And to tell you the truth, I was doing research on mental health trauma, and I had to stop myself. I'm serious. Felt like my eyeballs was bleeding. I think I was reading for about 3 days. Yeah, that's some. I wouldn't even know how to present that to you guys in this 3-part series because I intentionally left that out. And the reason why I left that out is because, like I said, I'm honest, I'm compassionate, and I'm raw when it comes to all things nursing and in-home care. I'm privy to all of that, but the trauma part, I just couldn't finish with that one. That's gonna be a whole nother podcast by itself, and I think that was gonna be 6 parts if you want to tune in. It's a lot. It's really, really a lot. Now, with that being said, the call to action today is to y'all share y'all stories. You ain't got to get online and share them with me. You ain't got to do none of that. Just pick up a journal or write, write it down or something. Or, talk to somebody close to you if you feel like, there's something happening with you mentally. You have to speak up. You can't be silent no more. You have to say something to somebody so that you can get that help that you need. And without, with that being said, first and foremost, we all human. So people online can be kind of crazy, So if that ain't nothing that you want to put online, to me, you don't have to, because I'm not a doctor, But I am an ear. I am an ear. I can listen. So, um, thank you, you know, for tuning in to this first part, Breaking the Silence of my mental health series. Like, comment, subscribe, and most of all, just tell me what you think about my overall, podcast theme, because I'm actually still working on it. I mean, like, all of this is new to me. I'm getting to learn a whole bunch of stuff, and my background is gonna be sexier too. When I get me a little bit more money. But I'm in the house today. I'm not in the garage, so yeah, it's hot out there. It's going down in Texas. Whew, you can't even go out there at 6 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, with that being said, just thank you for watching. If you stayed to the end, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned. Stay tuned for part 2 of my mental health series, A Lonely Journey Sometimes. And when I say sometimes, that means if you got the right community around you, it won't have to be lonely. That's what I mean. But stay tuned for part 2. Part 2 is going to be entitled Mental Health. I think that part 2 is Healing from Within. Healing from Within. That's the second part of this 3-part mental health podcast, hosted by yours truly, Miss Trina. Like, comment, and subscribe again. And with that being said, be vigilant. Be vigilant with people around you. Just be there for people and let people be there for you. So with that being said, y'all continue to love each other. And I'll see y'all next time.